goes down and the moon comes up.
She was the cute kid on the Disney Channel, the reliable best friend in teen dramas. But almost overnight, Jenna Ortega became something else entirely, a global phenomenon, a fashion icon, the face of a generation. And with that fame came the rumors. Fans and plastic surgery experts alike have pored over her photos, pointing out the changes, the sharper jawline, the more defined cheekbones, the seemingly more refined tip of her nose. The internet is flooded with before and after videos asking one burning question. Did Jenna Ortega go under the knife to achieve her new look? The most common theory? Rhinoplasty. Speculators say her nose appears thinner and more sculpted at the bridge and tip compared to her younger years. Others suggest subtle cheek fillers to create that dramatic sunken look that's perfect for the gothic aesthetic she now embodies. When we look at a patient for a potential rhinoplasty, we look for refinement. A removal of a dorsal hump, refining the tip. These are changes that can be seen when comparing older and newer photos of Ms. Ortega. However, it's crucial to remember the power of non-surgical methods. But here's the plot twist, and it's a big one. The most likely culprit might not be a surgeon's scalpel at all. It's something far more accessible: the magic of aging, extreme weight loss, and professional makeup. The role of a lifetime. Wednesday Addams catapulted Jenna Ortega into a stratosphere of fame few young actors ever experience. But to become the iconic, deadpan Addams heir, Jenna underwent a transformation that went far beyond acting. And it's this transformation that fuels the plastic surgery fire. This shocking admission from Jenna herself is the #1 piece of evidence against the plastic surgery claims. Dramatic, rapid weight loss doesn't just change your body, it completely reshapes your face. Cheekbones become prominent, the jawline sharpens, the face becomes more angular and hollow. The exact changes people are pointing to as proof of surgery. The buccal fat pads in the cheeks diminish. The submental area under the chin tightens. This can create a dramatically more mature and sculpted appearance, often mistaken for surgical intervention like buccal fat removal or fillers. It's so funny to me. People think I got all this surgery. And I'm like, I just stopped eating because I wanted to do my job well. It's not that deep. So we have her own word. The transformation was method, perhaps even madness, but not a surgical makeover. But wait, the story doesn't end there. Because Jenna Ortega isn't just a passive participant in her own narrative. She's a director of it. And that's where the real drama begins. So if it's not surgery, and it's not just weight loss, but what is it? The answer might be hiding in plain sight. In the tools of the trade that every celebrity uses, but we, the audience, choose to forget about when we see a shocking photo. Welcome to the world of Hollywood illusion. Exhibit C in our investigation, the power of contouring. This isn't just makeup, this is architectural design for the face. A skilled artist can literally reshape bone structure with the swipe of a brush. They can narrow a nose, carve out cheekbones, and sculpt a jawline, and then it all washes off at the end of the night. It's not a secret. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry teaching people how to do it. So why are we so quick to credit a surgeon instead of an artist with a makeup palette? And let's talk about the accomplices. Lighting and angles. A long lens on a paparazzi camera from below can distort features. A harsh, direct flash can create shadows that look like hollows and highlights that look like sharp bones. Every photo you see is a product of a specific moment, a specific lens, and a specific intention. Is it a documentary truth? Or is it a snapshot designed to get clicks? We are all aware of this. We've seen the memes. But when it comes to a young star's changing face, we suddenly suspend our disbelief. We ignore the magic tricks we know exist. But the conversation around Jenna Ortega isn't just about how she looks. It's about how she thinks. And this is where the story gets truly fascinating, and why she might be one of the most significant young voices in Hollywood today. While everyone was obsessed with her cheekbones, they missed the real scandal. A quiet rebellion happening behind the scenes. There were some lines on the page that I just couldn't get myself to say. I had to put my foot down. She wouldn't say that. She wouldn't care about that. Put my foot down. A phrase not often heard from a 19-year-old actress on a multi-million-dollar Netflix production. She wasn't just a hired mannequin. She was a creative force, arguing for the integrity of her character. She famously refused a romantic plotline, fought for Wednesday's iconic, emotionless demeanor, and rewrote dialogue on the spot. This wasn't diva behavior. This was a deep understanding of the character that resonated with millions. She wasn't protecting herself. She was protecting Wednesday. And in doing so, she challenged the old Hollywood system where young actresses are seen as pawns, not partners. This taps into a massive ongoing conversation in the industry about agency, fair pay, and creative control topics at the very heart of the recent guild strikes. Jenna, perhaps unintentionally, became a symbol for a new generation of actors who demand a seat at the table, and that makes people in power uncomfortable. Is some of the plastic surgery chatter a distraction from the more uncomfortable conversation about a young woman wielding power? If you're still looking for evidence of a transformation, look no further than her wardrobe. But this is not a transformation imposed by a surgeon. This is a masterpiece, meticulously painted by the artist herself. Jenna Ortega isn't just wearing clothes. She's building a persona, piece by piece, stitch by stitch. This is not your typical starlet being dressed by a stylist to please brands. This is a deep, intentional dive into subculture, horror history, and high fashion. Every outfit is a statement, a thesis. The doll headdress, a commentary on the dismemberment of celebrity. The gothic veils, a reclaiming of mourning, of darkness, as something powerful and beautiful. Fashion is the easiest way to be who you want to be, or who you are, without having to speak. And who is she? She is telling us, loudly and clearly. She is the heir to the Addams family legacy. She is the final girl who survived and thrived. She is the weird, artistic girl who isn't afraid to be dark. Her style is her armor and her flag. It's a direct rejection of the bland, inoffensive, marketable look that Hollywood often forces on young women. In an industry that tries to put people in boxes, Jenna Ortega is building her own, and it's shaped like a coffin. She uses fashion to control the narrative. While the internet gossips about her lips, she's using them to smile in a way that unsettles people. They're obsessed with her cheeks, and she highlights them with veils and dramatic collars, almost mocking the speculation. She gives access on her own terms. She reveals only what she wants to reveal. This mastery of image, this curation of mystery, is perhaps the most powerful plastic surgery of all. It's a total reconstruction of her public self, performed not in an operating room, but in the glare of the flashbulbs themselves. For decades, Hollywood had a very specific and very limited box for young Latina actresses. They were often sidelined as the spicy best friend, the gang member, or the immigrant daughter, defined solely by her struggle. But Jenna Ortega isn't just refusing to get in that box. She's setting it on fire. It's been really important for me to be able to represent my community, but I want to do that by playing characters that are complex and dark and weird. We are not a monolith. We are not a monolith. That statement is a revolution. By choosing roles like Wednesday Addams, a character whose ethnicity isn't her defining plot point or the traumatized survivor in the fallout, Jenna is expanding what it means to be a Latina lead in Hollywood. She's not playing a Latino role. She's playing a leading role who happens to be Latina. She's carving out a space for a generation of actors who want to be defined by their talent, not their ethnicity, while still proudly carrying their heritage with them. It's a delicate, powerful balance. And it makes her a pivotal figure not just in pop culture, but in the cultural shift towards authentic, non-stereotypical representation. Horror has a trope, the final girl, the pure, often innocent victim who outlasts the killer through sheer luck and resilience. But Jenna Ortega isn't playing the final girl. She's something new, the final girl who understands the horror. She's not running from the monster. She's often standing right beside it, or even embodying it. I've always been drawn to the macabre. There's a truth to it. It's not about the jump scares. It's about exploring the darkest parts of being human. This isn't just a career path. It's a genuine passion. While other starlets were doing romantic comedies, Ortega was becoming the face of A24's modern horror renaissance with X and Pearl. She chooses projects that explore trauma, grief, and the darker sides of humanity, themes that resonate deeply with a generation that grew up on true crime and existential anxiety. She's helping to legitimize horror as a genre of artistic depth and intelligence, moving it beyond B-movie schlock. Her association with the genre is a conscious choice to tell stories that are uncomfortable, challenging, and far more interesting than the typical young Hollywood fare. She's not the victim. She's the architect of the nightmare. And America is fascinated. In the age of curated perfection, Jenna Ortega's social media is a fascinating paradox. It's not a highlight reel of flawless selfies and sponsored ads. It's a mood board, a peek into the brain of a creative, weird, and fiercely private person who just happens to be one of the biggest stars on the planet. She doesn't give you the filtered, relatable content the algorithm craves. She gives you art. She gives you mystery. This is a new playbook for fame. Gen Z doesn't want to see a celebrity's perfect life. They want to see their authentic taste, their curated weirdness. Jenna masterfully uses these platforms not to connect on a personal level, but to solidify her brand as an enigmatic artist. And her audience gets it. They worship her for her refusal to play the game. Her aloofness on red carpets, her deadpan humor in interviews, it's not rudeness. It's a performance of authenticity that resonates with a generation allergic to fakery. She's famous not in spite of her strangeness, but because of it. She's rewritten the rules, proving that in today's world, the biggest flex is not being liked, but being interesting. No star exists in a vacuum, especially in Hollywood. As Jenna's star rose, the internet's favorite pastime began, the comparison game. Is she the next Winona Ryder? The spiritual successor to Aubrey Plaza's deadpan queen era? She's been called all of them. But these comparisons are less about looks and more about something deeper. She's tapping into a specific beloved archetype that hasn't had a true star in years. The Winona comparison is the most obvious. It's in the aesthetic, the dark hair, the pale skin, the timeless, slightly vintage vibe. It's in the career choices, both gravitated towards weird, offbeat, and darkly comic roles from a young age. But Jenna isn't a copy. She's an evolution. Winona was the alt icon of the 90s. Jenna is building that same icon status for the 2020s, but with the added power of controlling her own narrative from the start. The Aubrey Plaza comparison is about demeanor, the mastery of the deadpan stare, the delivery of a line so dry it could start a fire. But while Aubrey's weirdness often feels ironic and detached, Jenna's feels intense and all-consuming. It's not a joke, it's a lifestyle. These comparisons aren't criticisms. They're a rite of passage, a way for pop culture to anoint her as the newest heir to the throne of the strange and beautiful. But of all the conversations surrounding Jenna Ortega, one of the most powerful and unexpected wasn't about her at all. It was about a feeling, a chemistry. Enter Wenclair, the fan-dubbed relationship between Wednesday Addams and her werewolf roommate, Enid Sinclair, played by Emma Myers. This wasn't a storyline the writers pushed. This was a spark the audience saw, fell in love with, and built an entire universe around. Fans didn't just see a friendship. They saw a slow-burn romance, a classic tale of opposites attracting goth and rainbow, darkness and light. The Wenclair tag exploded into millions of edits, fan fictions, and analyses, becoming one of the biggest fan phenomena of the year. And the actresses? They've embraced it with grace and humor, praising the creativity of their fans while carefully reminding everyone that the story is in the hands of the writers. The Wenclair phenomenon reveals a crucial shift in pop culture. The audience is no longer a passive consumer. They are active co-creators, building narratives and communities around the subtext they connect with. Jenna Ortega provided the perfect, enigmatic canvas, and her fans created a masterpiece. So, where does Jenna Ortega go from here? She's already conquered television, become a horror icon, and a fashion muse. But this is just the first act. The industry isn't just watching her, it's placing its bets. The future being written for her is unlike any other young stars. In the immediate future, it's Beetlejuice 2, a legacy sequel that places her directly in the heart of a cultural phenomenon. It's a statement. She's not just the future, she's stewarding the past. But beyond that, the rumors swirl. Will she follow the path of others and leap into a mega-budget superhero franchise? Or will she continue to curate a unique filmography, perhaps following in the footsteps of an Angelina Jolie or a Kristen Stewart, actresses who use their fame as a launchpad for daring, auteur-driven projects? The most intriguing prediction? A move behind the camera. She's already shown a director's eye for character and narrative on the Wednesday set. In an industry craving fresh voices, Jenna Ortega, the director, isn't just a possibility. It feels inevitable. She represents a new model of stardom, one built not on likability, but on respect. Respect for her craft, her choices, and her uncompromising vision. Her legacy won't be a list of roles. It will be the path she blazed for the next generation of weird, wonderful kids who don't see a box they want to fit into. From the sunny sets of Disney Channel to the haunting halls of Nevermore Academy, Jenna Ortega's journey has been nothing short of a metamorphosis. But as the world watches, captivated, one question hangs in the air, heavier than any gothic fog. What comes next? Where does a star, who has already rewritten the rules, go from here? The most immediate answer lies in the shadows of the past. Beetlejuice 2. This isn't just another role, it's a coronation. A passing of the torch from Hollywood royalty like Michael Keaton and Winona Ryder directly into her hands. It's a statement that she isn't just part of the new guard, she's being entrusted with the legacy of the old. But this is merely the next step, not the final destination. The industry is buzzing with predictions. Will she become the new face of a major superhero franchise? The logical choice, perhaps, but for an illogical star, Jenna has consistently defied expectation. She didn't follow the well-trodden path from child star to rom-com lead. She carved a new path straight through the heart of the horror genre. The most compelling prophecy isn't about the roles she'll take, but the roles she'll create. Director, producer, the one in control. We've already seen the seeds. Her infamous hands-on approach to Wednesday wasn't diva behavior. It was the instinct of a storyteller. She understands narrative, character, and visual tone on a directorial level. In an era hungry for authentic voices, Jenna Ortega behind the camera isn't a question of if, but when, and her influence will stretch far beyond the screen. She is already a fashion icon, but her impact is deeper than just wearing clothes. She uses fashion as a language, a weapon of subversion against bland, marketable Hollywood glamour. She is the face of a generation that values curated identity over relatable authenticity. This isn't a trend, it's a cultural shift, and she is its chief architect. But her ultimate legacy? It won't be measured in box office dollars or Instagram followers. It will be measured in the doors she kicks down. She is proving, with every unconventional choice, that a young woman of color can be the hero of her own strange, dark, and brilliant story without conforming to a single stereotype. She is creating a blueprint for the next generation, A generation of weirdos, artists, and outsiders, showing them that their uniqueness isn't a barrier to success, it's the key. The future isn't something that happens to Jenna Ortega. She is actively building it. And for the rest of us, the only thing to do is watch. Because whatever she does next, it will be, without a doubt, unforgettable.